Introducing Instagram teen accounts. A new way to keep your teen safer as they grow. Like making sure they always have their seatbelt on.
All right, sweetie pie, buckle up. Good job.
Or ring the bell on their bike.
Okay, kid, give it a try. Nice.
Or remember their elbow pads.
Knees too, okay? Yep. There you go.
New Instagram teen accounts. Automatic protections for who can contact your teen and the content they can see.
Now's the time for a great deal on a new Honda. It's time to take an adventure with rugged capability and commanding style. Check out the Honda Ridgeline, Pilot, or CRV. For a limited time, well-qualified buyers can get a 3.99% APR on a 2025 Pilot, a 1.99% APR on a 2025 Ridgeline, or a 2.99% APR on a 2025 CRV.
See dealer for financing details.
Welcome to the Covert Narcissism Podcast. I'm your host, Renee Swanson. I am not a therapist, and you are not a victim. Before we get started today, I would just quickly like to make a recommendation to you of a podcast called How Not to Suck at Divorce. This podcast is not only a great title, it is a great podcast. Andrea and Morgan offer so much valuable information and with the perfect twist of humor with it. I know you will enjoy it. I know you will benefit from it. So go take a listen to it. Now, I got the privilege to be a guest on their show. It's going to release here in just a couple of weeks. And then Andrea came on and was a guest on my show that's also going to release here in just a couple of weeks. So there's a part 1 and part 2 there. So don't miss those. They're coming out soon. All right, let's get started. Have you ever felt like the invisible parent? The one that gets none of the credit but does all of the work? If you are parenting with a covert narcissist, then you do understand what I'm talking about. Covert narcissistic parenting seems to go dominantly 2 ways. And these 2 ways are centered around supply and scapegoat. And that is the dynamic that you are experiencing. I've talked about the supply and scapegoat in previous episodes, but covert narcissists need these 2 things. They need supply, which is someone who adores them, admires them, puts them on the pedestal, spends all of their mental and emotional energy to keep this person happy, or at the very least to not keep them, to keep them from being angry. And so they do everything they can to please the covert narcissist. Well, that's a great deal for the covert narcissist. They love it. They soak it all in. And so that is their supply. The other thing they need is a scapegoat. The scapegoat is someone to blame everything on. Everything that's ever gone wrong in their life, everything that could possibly maybe go wrong or even be remembered in a bad light. This is the person who is the scapegoat. And they can't ever get anything right. Like everything is judged with a fine-tooth comb. And everything they've ever done has been horrible. It would just have been better if, life would have been great if this person would have just been better or more capable. And this is the scapegoat. So different people within a family unit serve these 2 roles, and they actually fluctuate in and out of these roles for the covert narcissist. One day you are valued and accepted, especially when you're working hard to keep the covert narcissist happy, or at least not angry, which of course is not possible in the long run. And the next day you are guilted and blamed for your very existence. Now, in the beginning of the relationship with a covert narcissist, you were their supply. I mean, let's face it, the beginning of any relationship, a new relationship, is filled with intense admiration and this eagerness to please. And so that's normal at the beginning of a new relationship. And this new love consumes your mind. We give this person all of our mental and emotional energy. Well, the covert narcissist soaks this up. This is amazing for them. And it fits right into their need for supply. But if you think back hard enough to the beginning of your relationship, you probably can recall that the covert narcissist had a scapegoat at that point. Someone that they were blaming things on, someone they were blaming for everything that had gone wrong in their world. Maybe this was a previous relationship or a marriage. Maybe it was a parent who was neglectful or abusive, a boss who didn't value them, a friend who misunderstood them. And these are the scapegoats that they've been using then at that point, they were blaming everything on them. Now your relationship continued and you fell into the place of being the supply that they were seeking. However, you may have noticed these little moments, just tiny glimpses, unexpected, and it's blame that's just thrown in your direction real quick. Small moments where you briefly served that role of a scapegoat. Maybe it's because you kept them up at night. Maybe you're watching a movie, but it was you that picked the movie. And so because you kept them up at night, they didn't get the promotion at work, or because you don't support them enough, and whatever that looks like, they drink more than they should. You get these brief accusations, but strong accusations. This is the scapegoating. Now, in come your kids into this world, your world with this covert narcissist. And these are amazing little people who bring you unspeakable joy. You want nothing more than to love them, to care for them, to nurture them, and to watch them flourish. But for your partner, the covert narcissist in your life, this is not the case. You see, they don't see them eager to see how well they succeed. They see them as another pawn, another person to manipulate back and forth between these roles of supply and scapegoat. Now, if you are in this situation, I ask you please to reach out for help. Find someone to help you and support you through this, because no one should ever have to go through this alone. I do offer coaching services that are specifically focused on dealing with this, and you will receive many tools and resources to help you not only navigate this difficult relationship, but to also be the parent that you want to be and need to be for your children. So my website is covertnarcissism.com. So please check that out. Let me know if you have any questions. Now, the two ways that this plays out for the covert narcissistic parent is that the child is their supply or their scapegoat. All the members in the family unit are going to fluctuate in and out of these roles. When the child is the supply, the covert narcissistic parent is soaking up all the attention and adoration that a young child gives to their parents. Young children, I'm talking really young, they adore their parents. And they love it when they come in through the door and come home from work and daddy, 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 or mommy, mommy. And they just greet them with this big smile and this huge hug. And of course, the covert narcissistic parent soaks this up as any of us would. However, they don't do the hard work of actually being the parent. That's the point we're going to make as we go through this podcast. So they really enjoy it when they get all the attention. And let's go even further. They're not only getting attention from their child, they get attention from the people around them because they get to look like a good parent. They get to be the parent of the year. They show up at all the sporting events and gloat over how well their kid is doing. He got all his skills from me. I was such a great player when I was in school, too. I taught him everything he knows. I've been showing him since he was just a baby. And they go on and on, making sure that they are the good parent and soaking up all the attention. When their child comes off the playing field, they make this huge scene of congratulating their kid on being such a star. Now, this is only in the moment where this kid is being their supply. If this is not your experience, it's because the child was being a scapegoat. So just kind of keep that in mind. But when they're the supply, they want all the pictures with them and all the recognition. They make sure that they're the center of all the attention. Even though you were the one who had shown up for your kid. You were the one who was outside practicing with them, taking them to all of their practices, encouraging them when they got frustrated. Yet the covert narcissist is there to take all the glory when their kid succeeds. Now let's shift gears and let's look at when the child is the scapegoat. So the covert narcissistic parent in this situation is now blaming this child for being such a huge interference with their own life and their own plans and their own dreams and their own, hopes. The parent is the victim of this child wanting to do their own thing having their own interest, and heaven forbid, actually being good at it. Because now coming to the games is such a huge inconvenience. It's too hot, it's too cold, there's too many people, nobody goes, we're out too late, I've got other things to do, and so on. They might even say things like, I would have been to bed sooner and gotten a really good night's sleep if it hadn't been for that game. So now my day is ruined. As the scapegoat, these kids are a major inconvenience in their life. Now understand that all of this is because for a covert narcissist, their world is all centered around them. They don't know how to center life around somebody else, how to let somebody else's own life be centered around themselves. No, they see their kids as an extension of them. And so that child is a pawn, like I said, that you go from the supply and the scapegoat. Now, for most kids, they're not either the supply or the scapegoat. They are both. They fulfill both roles at various times throughout their lives, as do you. And this is a huge part of what lays the foundation for so much cognitive dissonance. There's no stability. There's no consistency, no predictability. Nothing makes sense. It's impossible to get your footing because you're in this constant push and pull. Now, I want to talk about one specific dynamic, one that is particularly hard to navigate. This is when you are the scapegoat and your kids are the supply. This particular dynamic is horrible. You take all the blame for everything that goes wrong, and your kids receive all of the loving attention. Now, as kids, they don't understand this dynamic. They don't understand what's going on, and they're starved for the attention of this parent. So they soak it up, and you are left alone and empty. You are left knowing the truth of what's going on, seeing what's happening, and being able to do nothing about it. This is excruciatingly painful, and it's devastating. In essence, you're being erased. You become an invisible parent. You have one parent that's getting all the praise, all the admiration, the spotlight. And then you have the other parent, you, doing all the work, carrying all the weight, and getting none of the credit. Or worse, getting all of the blame. Now, this imbalance is more than frustrating. It's deeply painful. You, the protective parent, the one doing all the hard, thankless emotional labor, gets dismissed, questioned, or even made out to be, the difficult one, the one causing all the problems. So let's talk about what this looks like. You're the one making the appointments, helping with homework, setting boundaries, keeping the kids on task, doing the hard work, okay? And packing lunches, setting up their play dates, checking in with teachers, guiding them through their tough times, calming the tears and the fears, dealing with the meltdowns, and so on. But the covert narcissist, they swoop in with a big fun evening or a big fun weekend, a surprise gift, a charming smile, and suddenly they are the hero. You're the one enforcing the rules, creating safety, in other words, being a parent, but they are painting you as being controlling and negative and stealing all of the attention from the kids. So you are invisible in the story that they tell other people. And often, the most painful part is you are invisible in the story that they tell your child. That hurts because you're the one staying up late worrying. You're the one doing all the emotional lifting, the one showing up even when you are running on fumes. This is an emotional injustice. It's psychological warfare with a smile.
Now's the time for a great deal on a new Honda. It's time to take an adventure with rugged capability and commanding style. Check out the Honda Ridgeline, Pilot, or CRV. For a limited time, well-qualified buyers can get a 3.99% APR on a 2025 Pilot, a 1.99% APR on a 2025 Ridgeline, or a 2.99% APR on a 2025 CRV.
See dealer for financing details.
It leaves you feeling unrecognized, unseen, and sometimes even unloved. One of the most heartbreaking parts about this is sometimes your kids don't see it. Now, that's hard to deal with. Many parents in your shoes struggle with the deep, deep ache of watching their children be swayed by this narcissistic parent, by their charms and their lies. The covert narcissist is so skilled at playing the victim, at rewriting history, at presenting a polished, fun-loving version of themselves. And this is so different from the manipulator that you know behind closed doors. And children, especially when they're young and when they're older, are often starved for this parent's approval. And so they gravitate towards this parent, the one with no rules and more gifts. Of course they do. But this hurts. These kids don't have the tools yet to understand manipulation. They can't see the long game being played. And so when you set boundaries, or you speak hard truths, or even you just leave the relationship, you divorce and you leave the relationship with the partner to protect your own peace, your kids start to blame you. They may see you as being uncooperative, bitter, angry. They may even blame you for being the one that broke the family apart. And that cuts deeper than words can express. Because you know how much you sacrificed. You know how much you care, how much you've been there for them. You know the nights that you stayed up praying that they would not absorb this damage, carrying their tears in your heart. You know the weight that you have carried, trying to give them a chance at something better. But in return, you get blamed. You get distance and disrespect and coldness and anger and accusations and confusion. You feel like you're losing them, not just to the narcissistic parent, but to this illusion that parent has created. Now, please hear me. This is not your fault. Children who were exposed to this covert narcissistic dynamic often struggle to make sense of their reality, just like you did for so many years. They are being emotionally triangulated, guilted, they're even being guilted themselves, and weaponized, and they don't know it. And you, the safe parent, you become the one that they act out against. Why? Because you're the one that won't abandon them. You're the one that won't manipulate them. The one who holds the space for their full emotional experience, even when it's painful to you. Now, in time, and this can be excruciatingly slow, they will start to see the inconsistencies. They will begin to notice who actually shows up for them, who listens, who loves them with no agenda. Your steadiness, your honesty, your genuineness, your love, this will lay the foundation for their awakening someday. Eventually, at some point, they will become the scapegoat once again for that narcissistic parent. And their eyes will open because they have you as their anchor. And while it's incredibly painful to watch their eyes open, your children will then see reality and they will then know the truth. Now, it might not happen today. It might not even happen this year. But the truth has a way of rising. They will know who was there for them, who did all the work for them, who showed up for them. They will know where they are safe and where they are not. One day, their eyes will open. Your job is not to control their view of the other parent. Your job is to continue being the lighthouse, steady, unwavering, and safe. Even when they turn away, even when they don't see you. You might feel invisible, but you are an anchor for them whether they know it or not. They might not appreciate you as that anchor until they are in their own storm. They may not see you when you're under the boat doing all the hard work. They may not see you, but they will feel the stability that you offer. Now, you might wonder, do my kids ever see what I do? Will they ever know the truth? Will I always be the bad guy in their eyes? Now, here's the truth. Children may not fully understand it now, but they are watching. They are feeling, they are experiencing their life. They feel who is consistent, even if they can't voice it. They feel who is emotionally safe, who they can trust when things get hard. And one day, like I said, that truth will rise. They will remember who was there, who listened, who believed them, who kept them grounded when the other parent spun out of control. So to the invisible parent, I say, I see you. I see the tears that you cry alone. I see the strength it takes to bite your tongue when you are being undermined, misunderstood, and blamed. I see the way that you shield your children from a pain that you did not cause. I see the resilience. I see the endless love, and I see the exhaustion. You are not invisible to the ones who matter most, not forever. And when the day comes that your child can look back and say, you were the one who was always there for me, it will be worth every silent sacrifice, every misunderstood moment, every time that you showed up when no one was watching. So keep showing up. Your presence matters more than you know. It matters far more than that covert narcissist performance. Now, if you find yourself in this position, I want to give you some tips today that help you through this. Things that you can do to help you to continue showing up as the parent you want to be. So here are 9 tips. Number 1, practice micro healing moments. These are what I call micro healing moments because they're little moments of intentional healing. You might not have long stretches of time for self-care, and I get that. But these are small intentional moments. Step outside and take some deep breaths. Write a single sentence in a journal. Listen to one song that makes you feel strong. Light a candle and say, I'm still standing. I'm still here. Healing doesn't have to look like a retreat or a therapist office. It can be a string of moments where you choose yourself over and over. Number 2, release the need to be perfect. You do not need to be a perfect parent. You just need to be a real one. Show your kids what it looks like to have feelings, to feel anger without destroying, to cry and to still show up, to make mistakes and to try again. That's healing for you and for them. Number 3 is a reality check for yourself regularly. Covert narcissists distort reality. You already know that. To heal, you need touch points that keep you grounded. Try journaling what actually happened after difficult interactions. Try talking to a trusted, non-judgmental friend and remind yourself, I am allowed to have boundaries, I am allowed to feel hurt, and I am allowed to protect my peace. Number 4 is to learn, and learn some more. And to do this without overloading, which that's the challenge. But knowledge is power, but it can also be overwhelming. Choose one healing resource at a time, maybe, and let it be your anchor for a week or a month. Maybe it's a podcast, a book, a support group. Let it validate you and guide you. And then choose another direction when you're ready. Choose another path, another healing resource when you're ready. If you are looking for a support group, I do offer small group coaching, and it is powerful. We do spend a lot of time talking about parenting for those that are in the groups that are parents. And for those that are not, we don't focus there. We focus on other stuff. But all of it is centered around covert narcissism. Number 5 is tend to your nervous system. You are living in a state of chronic emotional tension, and your nervous system needs regulation. Try grounding exercises like the 5-4-3-2-1 method. If you don't know what that is, Google it. You'll find it. Use weighted blankets or soothing sensory inputs. Do gentle movements, even if it's a slow stretch or a walk. This helps your body learn what safety feels like, even when your environment is chaotic. Number 6, let yourself grieve. You are not only grieving a partner or a relationship, you may also be grieving the dream of a family that functions, that works together, of a place where your kids can be understood and you can be understood by them, a place of being seen. It's okay to grieve. Let the tears come. They are not a weakness. They are proof of how deeply you love and how deeply you wanted this family unit. Number 7, find something that's just yours. So your entire identity may have been to be the protector and the survivor, and it's been all wrapped up in this covert narcissistic dynamic. But you are also a creative, funny, smart, and passionate person. Find one thing that connects you to you. A hobby, a project, a dream that you tucked away. Nurture it, even if it's just a few minutes each week. Number 8 is to connect with other survivors. You need spaces where you don't have to explain or justify what you've been through. Whether, again, it's a support group, a coaching program, or an online community. Find people who get it. Healing in isolation is possible, but boy, it's hard. Healing in community is powerful and life-changing. If you're looking for those resources, jump on my website at covertnarcissism.com. I offer the coaching programs like I've mentioned, but I also offer a Facebook group, a closed Facebook group, an online community that gets it. Number 9 is be patient with yourself. This is a marathon, not a sprint. Some days healing looks like journaling breakthroughs. Other days it looks like getting through the day without yelling. Both of these count. You are unlearning years of conditioning while raising little humans. It's scary, it's messy, it's hard, but it's beautiful. I hope that these tips and supportive words help to guide you through this nightmare. Remember, your kids are resilient, and so are you. You are stronger than you know, and so are they. Be gracious with yourself and be patient with them. I wish you and your kids so much peace on your journey of healing. You have been listening to the Covert Narcissism Podcast, where we break apart the insidious nature of these incredibly destructive and frustrating to the ends of the earth individuals. If you are struggling with the isolation, overwhelming self-doubt, and obsessive ruminating, you are not alone. I offer live, personalized coaching that is specific for you. This coaching can be individual or group sessions, or a combination of the two. You can find all the information at covertnarcissism.com. Reach out anytime. My email address is Renee, R-E-N-E-E, at covertnarcissism.com. And remember, I am not a therapist and you are not a victim, but I am a coach and you are a survivor. The information provided by Renee Swanson, Covert Narcissism Podcast, and CNG Life Coaching is for educational purposes only and is not to be used for diagnosis purposes. It is not intended to be a substitute for clinical care. Please consult a health care provider for guidance specific to your case. This material discusses narcissism in general. Renee shares stories from her personal experience as well as from those she has talked with for several years. Her material does not claim that any specific person has narcissism and should not be used to refer to any specific person as having narcissism. Permission is not granted to link to or repost this material to support any allegation or claim that any specific person is a narcissist. That would be an unauthorized misuse of the material and information provided.
Now's the time for a great deal on a new Honda. It's time to take an adventure with rugged capability and commanding style. Check out the Honda Ridgeline, Pilot, or CR-V. For a limited time, well-qualified buyers can get a 3.99% APR on a 2025 Pilot, a 1.99% APR on a 2025 Ridgeline, or a 2.99% APR on a 2025 CR-V.
See dealer for financing details.